The magnitude of our loss is phenomenal. It isn't just Kamala Harris who lost. It isn't just the Democrats who lost. Every single one of us who hoped against all odds that she would win lost. This is not just politics or government or even an issue of culture, although it is also all of those. This loss is extraordinarily personal. Our hopes and dreams for our country, our values and ideals, they have all been assaulted. Many of us feel broken, overwhelmed by feelings of betrayal. Do people just not care anymore? How could so many people vote for a felon with multiple convictions who has mocked and disparaged so many of the citizen groups of our country? Haitians, Puerto Ricans, blacks, and all people of color, the disabled, the entire LGBTQIA+ community, all women, our poor, our veterans. And that is not even an exhaustive list. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. We need to remember that and to remember its heritage. On November 11th in 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, an armistice, or temporary cessation of hostilities, was declared between the Allied nations and Germany in World War I, which was then known as the Great War. Commemorated in many countries as Armistice Day the following year, November 11th became a federal holiday in the United States in 1938. In the aftermath of World War II and the Korean War, Armistice Day became known as Veterans Day. Our veterans have literally risked their lives in service to this country, only to be meanly disparaged by our president-elect. It is very hard to see a way forward. And yet we are here. We are wounded in our psyche and perhaps even in our souls, but we are here. And as long as we have life, we can heal. Now, to be honest, it may be easier not to. Healing is often hard work, and it takes time. It is a whole lot easier to throw our hands up in the air and just say, that's it, I quit. I am not responsible for this mess, and I am not going to clean it up. If no one else cares about the things that I care about, I'm just not going to care anymore. When things go wrong and people start screaming for help and trying to understand why bad things are happening, I'm not even going to bother answering except for a very smug, told ya. It's tempting, so don't feel too badly about yourself if you've had some of those thoughts. Despair and a refusal to engage with awful changes is a very normal first response to tragic and debilitating injury. But it is only the first response. Our grief is real, and it will take us some time and effort to heal. We will not all have the same feelings or all have them at the same time. We will not all handle them the same way. Some of us have an easy time sharing our thoughts and feelings, and we will be very vocal about them. We will tell you what we're thinking and why. We will tell you what we're feeling and what we want to see done about it. We will tell you what we intend to do in the future, both tomorrow and the next day, and 2 years down the road from now. While others of us are much more private. Sometimes people think we're stoic, that we have fewer emotions or strong feelings than our more outgoing counterparts do. I'm here to tell you that's probably not true. Some of us just don't share our thoughts and feelings easily with others, especially not casually. We are private. We hold those things close to our hearts. We feel them deeply and profoundly, even if other people don't realize it. And that is okay too. You see, there is no single right way to respond to tragedy. There is no single right way to process our grief. We each need to examine ourselves and make sure we're taking proper care of ourselves. And that's going to look different for every person. And then we need to look around at our community and figure out, how's everyone else doing? And we need to take proper care of them too. And we need to do this by sifting through the rubble of our reactions and locating the cracks in the newly voted facade that are letting light in, even when we feel buried alive by the opposition. Now, you may have noticed that we have said nothing about what exactly went wrong. We have identified nothing that should have or could have been done differently by our candidates. That is important, and we need to have those conversations, but only after we have taken stock of our injuries and done a head count to make sure we're all here. Today is about our personal response on a gut level and how we can make our way from despair to realistic hope. It's actually a simple process, and like many simple things, it is also profound. First, we examine ourselves and figure out, how are we feeling? We let ourselves have our feelings. We name them. Often, people react to trauma with numbness, followed by despair, and then anger. The heavier the trauma, the deeper the despair and anger. Some of us will jump right straight forward into anger. Some of us will mix it up in equal parts with despair. Some of us will get mired in despair and have no energy for anger at all. We will need to be kind and considerate with each other, especially when our response does not match that of other people. Following anger, and oftentimes mixed up in it, are the what-ifs. What if we had said or done this or that differently? What if this event or that candidate had done things differently? We try to identify what might have made a difference and changed the outcome. And somewhere along the line, we may find ourselves feeling hopeless as we realize that there is no do-over for this, and asking what if cannot undo what is done. But asking those what if questions is really very important. It helps us to envision circumstances in which the outcome is different. Ultimately, asking these questions can lead us into more active healing. The numbness, despair, and anger are part of acknowledging the reality of our loss. The what-if questions are like debriding the wound clearing out the debris and damaged tissue and preparing for new growth. Because eventually, if we are pursuing healing, we will be asking ourselves, what can we learn from this tragedy? We will be asking each other to share our varied perspectives so that we can create a new way of being who we are that strengthens our values and ideals and fuels the energy and creativity to engage with the world again. And woven into all of this will be the energy of hope. You may remember, hope was the last thing at the very bottom of Pandora's box, after all the evils of the world had been set free. Hope makes life possible. Emily Dickinson said it vividly in her poem. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in your soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. We are here today to comfort each other, to mourn a great loss as a community and as individuals. We are here to affirm that hope never stops, even when we cannot seem to get in touch with it, even when it's buried under all the evils and ills of the world. Hope is still there. We are here to support each other so that when one person is feeling hopeless, another of us can hold on to hope for them. We can do this, people. We've got this. There are two very important and specific ways that we will be doing this. One is that we will be holding community conversation circles in the green room at 12 noon, from noon till 1:30, on both Tuesday and Wednesday of this coming week. So bring your lunch, bring a snack. We'll provide coffee and cookies. Anything else is up to you. We'll share our thoughts and feelings and the what-ifs. We'll help each other through this crisis. We will find the cracks and let the light shine in together. The other thing that we will do together is to affirm our hopefulness. Despite the pain and fear of this loss, we are not without hope. You all came here this morning because you had just enough hope, at the very least, to get yourselves here and connect with this community. We need to name our hopefulness and we need to act on it together. And we will do this through a community candle ritual. I'm sure a number of you are wondering what madness has possessed me, that I conned Carol into helping me put all of these candles of every sort, size, and shape, and color up here in front of you. But we have a very particular reason for it. So right now, I invite you to take a deep breath and just let it go and relax and refocus